Well, hello, Graybeard Wayne here. Got another, I guess you call it a how-to video. I got to put some disclaimers out there. I'm not a professional mechanic. I don't really have any formal training. This is what I've done all my life, working on things. Uh, what I'm going to do is just show you on a 2006 Tahoe, just putting a new rotor on the back. The symptoms I was getting was just a vibration when you hit the brakes, a little pulse in the pedal maybe. Didn't really have that. Um, I went to a trip recently to Maggie Valley, and we drove around for a while, and I drove all the way there. There was no issue. I had experienced the vibration. I did replace the front ones on this vehicle. I don't know if you can see it in behind me, but I had the 6 people in the thing, and there was a little bit of weight, and we were traveling up and down the curves and the mountain roads and so on and so forth. Well, when it when the rotors would heat up, I was getting a real bad vibration. I mean, really bad in the back of the vehicle. And this happens as they get older. You drive through their brakes could be warm. You drive through some water, it cools them real fast and causes them some warpage. Looking at I already did the other side. I think this side is going to be a little more complicated because of a lot more cables in there. We'll see how it goes. But I wanted to show you some of the basic tools, the rotors that I purchased. And keep in mind, this is a 2006 Z714 four-wheel drive Chevy Tahoe. They've made some changes to the rotors over the years, so figuring out which ones you got, I've already made sure that these were the correct ones for this vehicle. I will give you the part number. Now they do have, they're not all Tahoes are created equal. Two-wheel drives may be different, but these are what they call a brake drum rotor. Basically, the parking brake. It's not an emergency brake. It could be used in an emergency brake, but technically it is just for a parking brake. And I guess I could do like some go, the e-brake, whatever. Not me. It's a parking brake. You can use it in an emergency if you have a brake failure. Uh, it'll stop the vehicle eventually. And you'll see that later on the video that how small those parking brakes are. They're not very big. But I'll show you the basic tools here. Doesn't take much. This is what I used on the other side. I just use a large screwdriver, C-clamp. The socket that I'll be using is an 18 millimeter. I'm assuming you can see that 18 millimeter. A little bit of an extension if I needed it. 1/2-inch ratchet and a 1/2-inch um, longer breaker bar, as they call it. They're a pretty good size. This is what I'll use. It's just a impact wrench, 1/2-inch, and it's 22 millimeter or 7/8 for the little plastic caps and the lug nuts. Now this is the rotor that I purchased. Hopefully my shadow doesn't affect. This is the GM part number 191-75225 and 18A1412. I liked it because it had a around the drum, it has a coating on it. Hopefully, not that my other ones are too rusty. I'll show you the other side. Not bad for 19 years and pull it out here in the sun. 19 years and whatever, 178,000 miles on it. It's not bad. It probably could be turned, but if it's warping when it gets hot, then it isn't going to do you much good. So there's nothing less but do it, I guess, get to it. Hopefully it doesn't take too long. I did already support the vehicle. Got 2 jack stands under the rear axle and a floor jack. I just happen to have that. If you don't have that, you can do one wheel at a time, jack it up. I did block the front tires because there's no brakes. When the axle's off the ground, there's no brakes unless you got someone sitting in there, and that's going to impede you doing what we're going to do today. All right, let me get you set up. Hopefully I can get everybody in, see what I'm doing. I'll have to move this once in a while. I don't want to be too far back, but not too close. All right. Hopefully you can see me. Just let me know. Just get on in there. Now these are just little plastic caps on here. You can take them off with an impact, nice and easy. You know, these are variable trigger, just nice and easy. If you don't have that, I put them on hand tight. I've learned over the years, I think this is the fourth set of tires on this truck, that if you leave it up to the people at the shop, these are just plastic threads and they'll wipe them out every time. If that does happen, you can, I usually just put like a little dab of RTV in there and then I put them back on, and that usually keeps them on there. That's just for this particular deal. As you see, the wheel's fully suspended, no weight on the vehicle, a little bit of noise. And then you just take them off. I just like to take them off and try not to, the wheels get exposed to enough crap. You can see I got some corrosion up here, maybe you can see that. I don't know. Hopefully this is, the only purpose of this is, again, this is how I do it. Your experience may be different. Not all vehicles are the same. I guess the biggest thing is don't be afraid to tackle some of this stuff. I don't remember what those rotors cost. I think they were about 80 or 100 bucks a piece. So yeah, one thing you don't want to skimp on is brakes and tires. But if you don't have the money, I totally get it. I totally understand. But those are the two things that I try not to skimp on. Brakes and tires. All right, I'm gonna try to get you in here real quick. All right, see, hopefully the lighting is good. You can see, so I'm just gonna take the whole bracket off for the brakes, right? This whole bracket right here, as you can see, this is what holds the caliper. That's what this is right here. Holds it in place and allows it to apply pressure to this rotor. Well, it's actually a drum rotor, but anyways, there's two bolts. There's one here and there's one directly below it. And I don't know if I can get you in there to see what I'm doing. I doubt it. You're just gonna have to trust me on this. Let me turn you down a little bit here. See how so like I said, every one of them's different. And it's, like I said, 18 millimeter. Just get in there, figure out what you need to get it to break loose. I usually use an old Craftsman WJ44201. I've had it probably, I don't know, 40 years, maybe longer, maybe less. It works pretty good. I don't know the torque specs on these. I would suggest you look them up, but I know they're, for the size of them, obviously righty tighty, lefty loosey. So when you're like this, I want to turn the bolt this way, right? This direction. And that's hence why I use a breaker bar. I'm a pretty strong feller. So I've been told. I try to use good deodorant. Alright. It's all about getting it in a position where I can use some leverage. There we go. And it's loose, right? Switch to a ratchet. This is a Cobalt 7309. You can pick them up at Slows. Home Depot probably has something similar. Get a good one. Get a decent one anyways. You don't need one that's, crazy snap-on prices, or what's the other one? Mac Tools, what have you. You get a decent one. I'm just getting these all loose. I have to compress the caliper a little bit. I'll show you how I do that. I'm just loosening these up, so they're still in place. All right. Now the way these brakes work, they squeeze and they'll stay snug to this, and they'll never. You just want to loosen them enough to get this bracket off. You don't have to be crazy. And on this particular vehicle, damn, you know what? I'll be back in here in a week. I gotta put new pads on here. You probably should do that anyways, but this thing didn't have that many miles on here. But she's almost down to the squealer down there. I'll try to show you what I mean. The other side wasn't that bad, but this side is. These rotors don't look bad. They look good, but like I said, they're warped, so that's a problem. That is a problem, my friends. Yeah, I got them. That kind of sucks. You got this much movement. You could probably get it from underneath, but faster. But we'll get down here and get this guy down on the bottom off, and get a lot more of a turn on it. Because you're not gonna get a power. You could, if you have a power ratchet, I guess maybe you could use one of those. But even this one, it comes out and I hit this. I'm stuck. She's stuck. Need to get some different. And you can usually get them out with your hands. It's just reaching in there. It's just awkward. It's hard to film in there, especially since I'm pretty cheap and not very. Don't have a lot of fancy cameras, mounts, and stuff like that. So. All right, but these were the bolts that I was getting out. These are in good shape. They're not all rusty. That's the advantage of living down here in the South. This truck has been in the South its entire life. And then you just work this off of the rotor, find a place to set it. And yeah, I need to put new brake pads on this. All right, so I'm going to be back in here in a few weeks. That's for sure. Looks like I need a new bump stop. Good time to do an inspection and stuff, especially on older vehicles like this one. I'm finding a place to get this thing to set. Stay. Pretty simple. I'm assuming you can see what I'm doing pretty good. This here should work. That's not good. You don't want it to do that. Why? Get up, man. All right. Work this off. And as you can see, it's got a little drum inside here. Got these shoes right here. They're in pretty good shape. Not bad. Like I said, I don't use the parking brake a lot. I ain't known to use it a lot. I'll probably clean this up real quick and we'll prepare the other, what I do to put the other one on. And yeah, easy, right? Easy. I didn't like that fell. That sucks, but what are you gonna do? All right, we'll come over here. I'll show you how I clean the. So whenever you get a new rotor, like the one seen here, you want to clean it because they put a coating on them. They put a coating on these surfaces so they don't rust. So you don't, when you open up the box, they're not all rusted up. So they just put a little oil. Just use a little brakes parts cleaner. They spray the whole thing, so and just kind of clean her off. As you can see, I use a little O'Reilly's parts. Anyways, pretty simple. Like I said, inside here you have an inner one for the parking brake, your parking brake. And that's why they call this a drum rotor. You don't really have to do a lot, but get that oil off of here, because yeah. Now them back brakes were done at the same time. It has me concerned that the lost my nozzle. That this side wore faster. But I had a brake cleaner. I have to get back to O'Reilly's and get some more. All right. She's cleaned off. Let me move you back over here. Make sure you can see what I'm doing here. Looks like you can. All right. I already tested to make sure it fits, so on the other side. So if you do get one, you want to make sure you can make sure the bolt holes lined up. You can turn it this way and make sure that it'll actually go on, you know, sits on nice and good like it's supposed to before you go to trying to install it with everything, and she don't work. All right, now if you were wondering what the C-clamp was for, this is a 4-inch. That is what I use to compress. Yeah, I can't believe how much that to compress this, because it probably won't matter much, but we want to make sure we got enough. So do it kind of easy, give everything a chance to work, to go back through the system, push fluid back up to the reservoir. I never add fluid to the reservoir because that's an indicator of how bad your brakes are worn. And mine was not giving me, it was showing it was down a little bit from the max, right? Don't let them go in there and just top off your fluids in there. If it's low, either your brake pads are wore out or you got a leak somewhere. It's a sealed system and it should not need to be topped off. If they're topping off your brake master cylinder, in my opinion, of course it's opinion, some people may disagree, they're wrong. All right, so I think I spread it enough. They slide over, back in place. Take a bolt. I usually do the bottom one on this particular application, just because it's easier to get to. Line it up. Line it up. That's easier said than done, apparently. Might not all the way on here. There we go. I just missing the hole. She's on. Get the other bolt. You could put some blue Loctite on it. I'm not going to do that because I'm going to be back in here. Probably. Whoops, thought I got it started, but I guess I didn't. Got to get more than one thread on there. There we go. All right. Guess this is where being left-handed would be a plus. All right, she's tighten her up, snug everything back in place. Remember, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. I already had her set to, this one takes forever. Just tighten her up. I don't think I want to bore you for the rest of this. Like I said, you're going to tighten these back up. You know the torque specs, torque them to specs. If you got a torque wrench, you don't. If you don't, you're going to tighten them. If you use a breaker bar, you should be able to get enough torque on them. I think they're probably 80 to 100, maybe more. They're pretty good sized bolts. It's important that they're tight. Everything is lined up perfectly. And there is definitely, I definitely need to put new brake pads on the back of this for certain. So, yeah. That's a little snug down here on this bottom one. It's easier to get to, get a lot more whatever. But yeah, and that's pretty much it. Once you get the wheel and everything back on, tighten your lug nuts back up, go inside. Don't start the vehicle, but just slowly push the brake pedal to push the fluid back to the rotors. And yeah, you should be good. I'm going to use my breaker bar to give me a little more leverage on these. Yeah. Click. There you go. One more for the top. And click, if you will. And everything's in the reverse. And that's how you do it. I was going to show you real quick. Let me show you under the hood what I was talking about. I know I'm probably looking at my chest. I'll show you what I was talking about. Let me pop the hood. If you look under the hood of this, I probably need to change the brake fluid as it is. As you can see, that since I squeezed it, you can see I don't know if you can see the level very well in here, but you have a max, and this is a minimum down here. You can't really see it that well, but trust me, it's down there. If you're down in here, you got a problem. They don't have to be at the max. That's when you do put new brakes and you got brand new rotors and the system's been bled, you want it at the max level. You don't need to keep adding to keep it at the max level. It's not necessary. You want to keep it above the minimum, and if you're down here to the minimum, you got a leak somewhere and you need a repair. Dang on mud daubers. I'm gonna get started one there. All right. Well, I won't bore you on how I put it back, the wheel back on, or the test drive, or any of that, but I will show you real quick. You'll see when I press that brake pedal, you're going to see it goes all the way to the floor. Let it come back up nice and easy. Push it again, because all you're doing, you done pushed all the fluid back into the reservoir on the master cylinder, and now I have a firm pedal. Okay, very firm pedal. It does what it's supposed to do. I don't have any issues. It will give me a thing sometimes. We'll start her up. You can see I don't have any warning lights on the dash, surprisingly. Use that, make sure everything's good. Everything comes back and is working like it's supposed to. It's a little slow though, I'm surprised. There we go. Use a little pressure, got good pressure, life is good. No warning lights, no ABS issues, none of that. All right, well, thanks for watching. Leave a comment if you got any questions, think I did something messed up, something wrong, some advice, I'm always up for it. Hey, if you can, leave a like. It helps the other people that may need to know this information, gives them more visibility, if you will. But yeah, that was it. It's pretty simple. Took me 20 minutes. I don't know how long this video been. 26 minutes, and that's because I was talking. If I was just doing it, I could do the whole job in maybe less than an hour, if that. So, all right, that's it from now. Thanks again for watching. Have a great day.